have, as a matter of fact, some very, very large individuals. At the Big Cat, Ernie Ladd, one of the great professional football players, All-Pro. And, of course, after that, one of the great World Wrestling Federation stars at 6'9", tipping the scale close to the 300-pound mark. Big John Studd at 6'10", I believe, and very close to the 400-pound mark. And, of course, Hulk Hogan at 6'7", around 310, something like that now. So a lot of big boys. And we also have an individual that we're about ready to introduce, along with Big John Studd. Not exactly as large as Big John in terms of stature, but noted for something else, perhaps the semblance of an animal of some kind. Would you welcome Big John Studd and Bobby the Brain Heenan?
I'm going to stand here and take this?
No. Well, I think you will have the appropriate opportunity to respond, I'm quite certain.
I see somebody made bail.
Big John Studd, your number one man, I would think, almost, along, though, with King Kong Bundy. There was some sort of trade recently, was there not?
Yes.
And you're representing both, I would think, perhaps the most awesome tag team combination in the world today with Bundy and Studd. I wonder, Big John, if you could tell us how well you get along with King Kong Bundy.
Well, you know, Bundy and I have something in common. We both don't like Andre the Giant. We don't like Hulk Hogan. And we don't like Hillbilly Jim. It's obvious, you know, after what we've done to these people. Bundy's all right. He's a good guy. He's there when we need him. That's all that counts. I'm there when he needs me.
I would think that the two egos, Mr. Heenan, to try and coordinate those two massive egos along with a massive of humanity would be extremely difficult.
Well, it is if you're not smart. That's why I'm Bobby the Brain. You see, what I do is, after a match, John Studd goes his way. After a match, Bundy goes his way. They're only together in the sport of wrestling. That's what keeps them separate. That's how I keep them. That's why we're winners.
I would think, though, should see some sort of bit of a camaraderie. But right now, we're going to take a look at Big John Studd in individual competition.
Notice that he is not accompanied this week by his manager, Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Most definitely, the absence of Bobby the Brain Heenan evident this week.
And Big John, Mario Mancini trying to hit John Studd with a shoulder block, and he's definitely coming out on the bad end of that exchange, Jack. Try for an arm bar. He's trying to push the Giant Studd into the corner, trying to whip him into the corner, and the Giant Stud's going nowhere, but there goes Mario.
Oh, my goodness, did you hear that? Wow. Look at Mancini look at Mancini trying to, what was he trying to do?
He was trying to body slam John Studd for $15,000. That's what he's trying to do, and he did fairly well. He got the big man up a lot farther than I ever thought he could.
Big hip toss in there by Big John Studd.
The Giant Studd.
The Giant Studd. Oh, Studd screaming, hollering for the tremendous throng in attendance this week.
Whips Mancini into the ropes and catches him with a forearm clothesline and screams, "Who's the Giant now?"
Oh, you can hear him all over this jam-packed facility. Who's the Giant now? Look at that, a tremendous right hand to the back of Mario Mancini.
That's like a sledgehammer coming down on you, Jack, when Big John Studd lays that forearm of his in. Picks Mancini up. Big body slam.
Oh, you don't come any bigger than that one, I'll tell you.
He's coming down from about 8 or 9 feet when Big John Studd slams you. I think he's asking, where's Andre the Giant's hair?
Studd hollering, screaming.
Mr. Wonderful.
I'll tell you, he is a menacing sight in that ring.
And there's Big John Studd with a body vice backbreaker, much the same hold that Jesse the Body Ventura uses. And Big John gets a submission, Jack.
I think.
Well, I think
I know
you're
what
perhaps right.
I know what I'm talking
not too sure about that, because you really have. Have you really paid off?
Wait a minute, pal.
We're talking about the $15,000 was alluded to in the tape. We all know that Big John Studd has
not
Wait a minute.
been slammed.
Let's get something clear right now, McMahon. A slam. To take me over and to hip toss me, that's not a slam. A slam is to pick me up, put me above their shoulders, and slam me. Have you seen anybody do that? Have anybody out there, have you seen anybody do it? Nobody has ever got me above their shoulders.
John, first of all, you're correct. Second of all, don't ask their opinion on anything. Would you have any of those people out there do your taxes? You know, a body slam like John says, the Giant claims he slammed Stud. Hogan has said he slammed. So what they've done, they've hooked him under the arm, hooked his trunks, and took him over in a hip lock fashion. That's all it is. And believe me, pal, I'd be the first one to pay that money. I don't mind doing that. What's right is right. That's how I operate.
Well, what about this, the bounty? You have a $50,000 bounty now on Paul.
No,
would you ever pay that off?
I'd love to pay. I'd love to pay it. I'd love to pay it to you.
I don't think so.
I'd pay it to anybody out here. You know what? Look at these people. Look at those faces. You know what they do with $50,000? Probably blow it on Pac-Man games at the bus station or something.
All right now we're going to take you on tour, after which we're going to allow the audience to ask you some questions for
They're going to ask me questions?
You bet.
They can speak?
We'll find out. Back with more TNT, and this is the segment of our program in which the audience gets to ask the questions, and I'm sure, Mr. Heenan, you are looking very forward to responding to them.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
Like burnt toast.
Beg your pardon?
Go ahead, help yourself.
Thank you very much. What's your name, sir?
My name is Ron Goldman.
Ron, do you have a question for Mr. Heenan or for Mr. Studd?
Yes, I have a question for Mr. Studd. He's always bragging that he's the self-proclaimed giant of professional wrestling, and I want to ask him what makes him think this.
Big John.
Because I'm the biggest man in wrestling today. I took care of Andrea, your hero. He's no longer with us. He's been carried out 3 times. From matches with me, he's been carried out of the ring. I've never been carried out of a ring. Mm-hmm. I've always walked out of a ring.
All right, fine. And would you state your name, please?
Sandy.
You want to stand up, Sandy, so everyone can take a look at you? Do you have a question for Mr. Heenan?
I think you guys are great. What do you have in store for us for 86?
86?
Yes, that's
The
a
World's
good
Heavyweight
question.
Is that your
Championship for
room number?
Stud.
No.
You in room 86?
Thank you. My goodness. What's your name, sir?
Andy.
You want to stand up for us? And what question would you have for one of that unusual bunch up there?
I was wondering if either of them spend any time in the gym.
Oh, that's a good question. I'm sure that Mr.
Andy
Studd.
must be part Japanese. I see he's got a camera around his neck. Let's go to somebody
Aside
else.
from that,
What?
would you respond to the question?
Yes, go to somebody else.
I'm sure, Mr. Studd, you would want to respond. On this very program, you allegedly set the world bench press mark.
That's a stupid question for him to ask me. It's obvious I go to the gym.
Obvious you go to the gym. All right. There's a gentleman down here with a rather unusual-looking hat on, and I wonder if you would, sir, what's your name?
I'm Dave Richter.
Dave, you want to stand up and perhaps ask a question to this unusual bunch up there?
All right, how many times do you go to the gym?
More than you do.
If you go.
More than you do.
Hey, let me ask you something. Did they have to pass an IQ test to get in here, or did they just get off the bus on the corner and you snatched them?
Would you stand up, please, sir, and state your name?
Phil,
Phil, all
know,
right.
why would you want to cut Andre's hair?
I'll answer that. Because we wanted to strip him of his dignity and embarrass him so he'd leave professional wrestling. We were giving him an easy way out, but he's too dumb to take it.
Didn't
And he
happen.
cut Stud's hair too.
No, he didn't. Just a little bit of it. But you saw what happened to him afterwards. He was carried out. Sit down, Bill. We're done with you. Go next one.
Thank you very much. Would you stand, sir, and state your name?
Wait.
What?
Designer work clothes. That's nice.
I want to know if Bobby the Brains ever managed a world's champion before or a tag team champion before.
I've managed a number of champions over the world before. My main concern right now is John Studd and Bunny, and I'd love to manage Studd or Bunny if they become the World Federation World's Heavyweight Champion. That's the ultimate goal for me.
All right. Well, I can't recall you having managed a champion, but I'm sure there must have been champion.
You can't recall where you slept last night, so why bother me?
Pardon me, let me step through here. Would you stand up, sir, and state your name?
Romeo.
Romeo. All right. Romeo has a question, and which gentleman would you like to ask a question to?
Suppose it take more than one person to slam you. Would you let them do it here and pay the
Oh, are you
15
talking
grand?
something like a project? Is that what you're talking about?
No.
That's what it takes.
If that's what it takes, would you pay the $15,000 if one
Well,
or more?
probably you and your relatives, that'd be like 78 cents a piece. Yeah, I'd pay it if you could do it, but you can't do it, pal.
Pardon me, sir. Would you stand up and state your name, please?
Buffalo Bill Cody.
My name is Ronald McDonald.
Ronald McDonald. Do you have a question for one of this illustrious panel?
Yeah, I would like to know why John Studd thinks he really didn't slam. He mentioned it before that he thought it was a hip throw or something. But I saw it. It looked like more than that to me.
Big John?
I haven't been slammed. How many times do I have to say it? No one can slam me. Everyone's tried. Everyone's failed.
The gentleman next to me, I think, could do it.
Fatso.
That man? Wait a minute. You mean the guy with the heart on his shirt?
The heart on his shirt?
Probably the first one he's ever had on his shirt.
He has a what?
He has a heart on his shirt.
Could you stand up, sir? Can we take a look at... He does!
Oh.
You're right, you're right. We'll be back with more TNT. Stay with us. Advice to the Lovelorn coming up.
What's happening?
All right, we're back with more TNT. Thank you. And not too many people really know that Lord Alfred Hayes gives advice on most any subject. And Lord Alfred Hayes has asked Ann Landers to move over about 2 or 3 feet and is going to offer his advice to the Lovelorn, I understand.
Well, it was from the heart.
From the heart?
Yes, very much so. And the English style.
Yes, right. Let's take you now to, this is a pre-recorded piece done some time ago. It's Vince McMahon and Lord Alfred Hayes. And Lord Alfred Hayes here to give advice, and I wonder, Alfred, if there isn't a great deal of difference between the English way of romance and the American style. I mean, I wonder if you could give us some idea of what would happen on the first date in England.
Well, one must take into account that English people aren't necessarily people who are rushed into things.
I see.
And I would say that to hold hands, providing the gentleman was wearing gloves, would be acceptable.
That would be as far as you would go on the first date.
Oh, most definitely.
I see. Well, what about then things must accelerate pretty rapidly for the second date?
Well, yes, you could go for a stroll in the park, and you could, I suppose you could brush your lips briefly against the cheek of a young maiden.
And that's as far as you would go for the second date?
Well, that might be too much.
I see. Well, what about, let's jump to perhaps the fifth date, now that I would imagine someone would have established quite a relationship in England by the fifth date now.
Oh, but definitely.
So how far then, I mean, if we're not getting too personal, how far would you have gone then in a normal average relationship, say on the fifth date?
Well, I can speak for all Englishmen here. You would definitely embrace a maiden with your hand lightly placed around her waist, her facing the same direction
and then what happens?
as yourself.
Yeah, right. And then?
Well, yes, that is it. Mm-hmm. Yes, you embrace her like this. Sort of your hand around her waist, but definitely no, well, you can glance at each other, but both facing the same direction.
All right, fine. It looks like we're getting nowhere fast here. Alfred, just how long would it take? How many dates? How many months? Just how long would it take for one to become intimate?
Oh, gosh. Well, I suppose you could say after a considerable courtship of possibly 5 to 6 months, you would actually kiss lips to lips.
Thank you for joining us for Advice to the Lovelorn. Lord Alfred Hayes. That's unbelievable, Lord.
I'd hate to see you in England.
I would hate to be in England. That's the way it is. Joining us in a few moments, as a matter of fact, a man who accelerates most everything in his career, no matter what that may be, pro football or professional wrestling. When we return, we're going to have a big cat with us. His nickname, Big, all 6 foot 9 inches of Big Ernie Ladd. We'll have Mr. Ladd when we return with more TNT. Stay with us. back with more TNT, and in a moment we're going to be joined by a giant of a man, and certainly in his day in professional wrestling he was just that. All 6 feet 9 inches of him. Would you please welcome one of the all-time greats in the World Wrestling Federation, the Big Cat, Ernie Ladd. You know Lord Alfred Hayes over there.
Hello, Hayes. How are you?
Yes.
Now, the Big Cat, my goodness, you wreaked havoc all up and down this World Wrestling Federation, all over everywhere when you stepped in the ring. As a matter of fact, I can recall the occasion in which you stepped in the ring to face Andre the Giant. I think that was one of the classic battles of all time.
Well, I'd say it was two giants clashing, you know. In my era, during my time, I really enjoyed it. Wrestling took a tremendous impact upon my life. You know, I played pro football. Wrestling was so good to me, I had to leave football. And if a lot of football players were smarter today, they would try to become a wrestler. I doubt if they have the abilities, but wrestling is where it's at.
You'd be amazed by the number of pro ballers that want to do just that, as a matter of fact, to follow in your footsteps. But as you brought out, it requires a different kind of skill altogether, professional wrestling as opposed to pro football.
Well, I had a personal friend, a colleague of mine. He used to tell him all the time his coordination was too bad. Buck Buchanan and all, he'd get furious. Big Buck, you know. He stands about 6'8", weighs about 280, 290. You see him quite often on a commercial on television now. He'd get furious when I tell him, I said, Buck, you just don't have the coordination to be a great athlete as a wrestler.
As a matter of fact, we'd like to take the audience back and show you one of the true great athletes in action. We'll join it in progress. It's the Big Cat, Ernie Ladd, squaring off against another great, Dominic DeNucci.
The Big Cat may be playing possum. Ladd backed into the corner by DeNucci, and once again, you have to wonder if you're going to see a clean break on the part of Ladd. Ladd turning his back as though Dominic would not break clean. Tying up with him once again now. The Big Cat throws him over that hip. That's a long way down. Referee is looking to see if the shoulders of DeNucci are down on the canvas. Well, the hole was broken, all right, but not before it took its toll on Dominic DeNucci. There's Ernie Ladd all over him. Hard right across the back, one and an uppercut. Ladd pounding away, having his way with Dominic DeNucci, and DeNucci in a lot of trouble. Big 6 feet 9 inches of the Big Cat all over his opponent, Dominic DeNucci. The crowd picking up the momentum. They want DeNucci to come back, but it's down for the Big Cat.
That was a good example of the Big Cat. You were really going to town.
Well, like they say, you know, Joe Louis had a great saying. Probably he was probably the greatest finisher of all time. Once a man's eyes blink, you go after him. You didn't let him come back, and I was trying to put him away.
You sure? You put many of them away. Speaking of away, where you making your homestead these days?
You know, I was living in Houston, but my wife, she's from a little country town that I finally learned to love called Franklin, Louisiana. And she said, big fella, let's go home. And she's the boss in my life, you know, after God, she's the boss. And we took off and went back to Franklin. Mayor Sam Jones down there, Press Foster, you know, my pastor, Leroy Phillips, you know, and Billy Warren. These are the people down there that keep me ticking.
Mm-hmm. Well, keeping you ticking, I understand you're going to be doing quite a bit of traveling all over this great country of ours, doing some PR work for the WWF.
Well, I'm looking forward for it. The WWF is the most exciting show on television today, you know. One of the most fantastic things that ever happened to wrestling, as far as I'm concerned, to be able to market a product that has needed marketing for some time, and you come along and you take it and you make it the best thing in wrestling, you know, and it's very financially strong for the guys that are in wrestling, and it's very, very glamorous to the guys that get known from national television, you know, and then they go out across the country and they're represented extremely well from what the public has had the opportunity to see on television, you know. When football first started years ago, they used to say the big dumb football player, and then they'd come along and knock most athletes. But Dr. Frank Ryan kind of changed that. Then the era of the wrestlers got, oh, he's just a big brute, he can't do anything. Look at a guy like Hulk Hogan. He can talk, he can fight, he can get down, he can boogie, he can hold down, whatever you want, Hulk Hogan, you know, he's right there. He's a true champion in every word you speak of it. You know, like the country had a great loss at one time. You lost heroes like Sandy Koufax and Willie Mays that go back into the community. Here's Hulk Hogan as a hometown boy to every little crook, curve, and corner of the world. Hulk Hogan, you know, and the cartoon right now, and the Junkyard Dog, the great athletes that are so marketable, and the whole world can see them now. You know, and it makes me feel great to be a part of, to be able to do some PR work for an organization like this.
Well, Big Cat, we'd like to thank you for joining us.
Indeed, my pleasure.
All righty, we'll be right back right after you tell you a little bit about the Wrestling Classic that's coming up in Chicago, in which that's when they're giving away the Rolls Royce, and it's an elimination tournament. Who all is in an elimination tournament? Some of the great stars, Alfred.
Gosh, yes, we have
Ricky Steamboat.
Magnificent Don Morocco. We have the British Bulldogs.
I'm sure you remember the British Bulldogs.
Nikolai Volkov.
We'll tell you a little bit more about that when we return right after this. Stay with us for more TNT. Welcome back to more TNT. Lord Alfred Hayes earlier on, he talked about the Wrestling Classic, the first annual Wrestling Classic. It takes place for the benefit of those of you in the shadow of the suburban Chicago area in the Rosemont horizon. And it's an elimination tournament. The first time the WWF's ever had an elimination tournament in which a wrestler, I guess, if they were to win, they would be wrestling, I think, for the 5th time that evening. It's 16 men in an elimination tournament. Reads like a who's who. You talked about some of them earlier, the Bulldogs. Terry Funk, Adrian Adonis, Ricky Steamboat, Tito Santana, Macho Man Randy Savage, the Iron Sheik, Cowboy Bob Orton, Ivan Putski, Paul Orndorff, Corporal Kirchner, who's going to join us in a moment, Magnificent Morocco, Nikolai Volkov, on and on, in addition to a title defense by Hulk Hogan. And that's also where we're going to announce the lucky person who has won the Rolls Royce.
Yes.
And of course, you have had many experiences in the Rolls Royce, but many of us have not. We won't get into some of your experiences in the Rolls Royce, but in any event, would you please welcome our next guest, who is a part of this elimination tournament that takes place this Thursday night. It's on your local cable system if you have pay-per-view capabilities.
All right.
Would you please welcome America's great Corporal Kirchner?
Feel good.
I guess you do. Have a seat.
Wow.
You carry that with you every place you go?
Not too often, no.
I think so.
Patriotism up, man. It's great. The Air Force, the way they brought down that airliner.
Yeah, that was.
They brought our people home. I don't like what they did, but we did it, man. We're finally getting back at them. We're fighting back.
Well,
Damn, I brought you something, Alfred.
You have a present for Alfred?
Sure do.
Oh my gosh! I can do without that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's.
Hey, Mr. McMahon.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's
What
what
happens if you pull this pin?
A loud explosion. You get a body count. Yeah, I brought my rifle with me.
Is this about the average weight of a grenade, or is this about?
Oh yeah, it's average weight. That one there is just a demonstration grenade,
That's
but
heavy.
it's actual
Alfred?
fragmentation.
Oh, that is heavy, isn't it?
Yeah, I've never held a grenade, a semblance of one. That's
a nasty thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it does the
Can
job.
create quite a bit of havoc, I'm sure.
Quite an explosion too.
Speaking of havoc, we will take you now to Corporal Kirchner by way of videotape, squaring off against the Moondog Spot. Let's join the match in progress. Oh, from the Garden.
Yes.
Many might call that a trench knife. However, direct from the mouth of the body, former SEAL
That's right.
It's a toad sticker.
That's right. I was never one of them dog faces.
Is that what you consider Corporal Kirchner?
Any Army guy.
Moondog Spot taking the upper hand right off the bat. Spotty, 305 pounds plus, will push the Corporal to the limit. Oh, this guy can hurt you in so many ways. On the receiving end, Corporal Kirchner. Whoa, there he goes. Hard out onto the concrete. Welcome to the World Wrestling Federation.
And that definitely wasn't a parachute landing fall, as they call it, a PLF in the airborne training, Gorilla.
It came down in a number of ways, in sections there, Jess. When you hit that concrete, boy, it hurts. Now he's tied up backwards. Come on, ref, lay a count on him here. Let's get this guy out of this position and get on with this match. Spotty going to the outside to administer more punishment. And the Corporal tied up. Referee finally got that rope turned loose. And Corporal better regroup here. Moondog Spot doing the number. And the former member of the 82nd Airborne, Corporal Kirchner.
You better call in the Rangers in a minute.
Headbutt, that's not one of Spot's maneuvers. I think he got a little stunned out of himself. Snap mares, Kirchner back inside the ring. Look out, wind me up. In for the ride. Oh, nice sunset flip over the top. Will he have enough leverage? No. Spotty maintaining his balance there. Drove that big right hand down into the forehead. Now on top, second turnbuckle from the inside. Moondog Spot lays one right in.
And Kirchner's gotten a slow start here. It's been all Spot Moondog, and we'll see what the kid from Fort Bragg's got in him this time.
Supposed to be a very gutsy individual. Once again, Spotty again on that second turnbuckle from the inside. Went to the well one too many times. Hurts that right wrist. More importantly, did not land. Uh-oh, look at this stomping. No! The Corporal is fired up and turned on. Whips him in. One right to the lower abdomen. Nice knee lift. Nice combination move there. Winding him up again. Irish whip as Spotty goes inside. Oh, ducked underneath that right hand. Reverse kick by the Moondog. Wraps up. Now another reversal by Kirchner. Picks him up in an airplane spin. Wow.
He could
Reverse
get him.
drop. Hooks the leg. He's got him.
All right.
Thank you, people. Thanks. Good to be back.
All right, Corporal Kirchner, but I would think that how do you assess your abilities? I know the last time we chatted, you were just entering the WWF, and notwithstanding the rigorous training you went through in the 82nd Airborne, I would think that maybe have you had any surprises or things?
I've had a lot of surprises, Vince McMahon. It's just like combat. It's just like being in a war zone again. That's why I brought my weapon with me, because it feels good. I don't use it anymore, but when you're in combat zone, you're under fire constantly. You don't know if you're going to get hit, if you're going to get wounded, what it's going to be about, if you're going to make it through another day. Your adrenaline is pumped. It's intense. You're in a firefight. And then when it's over, you thank God you're alive. And it's like going into the ring. You get in there. You don't know your opponent. You can expect something from him, but you're not quite sure what he's going to do. A lot of these boys around here, not boys, but men, they got real bad attitudes, okay? Wrestling is supposed to be physical, all right? Ace Orton with his cast tried to give me a frontal lobotomy the other night. Unfortunately for him, or fortunately for me, I'm still here. These guys like to play rough, but I like it because I'm in there with them, and I like to play just as rough as they do. They want to get down. They want to get nasty. Welcome to the combat zone.
All right. Thank you for joining us, Corporal Kirchner. We'll be back as we continue with the World Wrestling Federation champion, Hulk Hogan. Stay with us. Back with more TNT, and we cannot keep you waiting any longer. Would you please welcome the reigning World Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion, Hulk Hogan. I think Hulkamania is indeed running wild.
Well, you know, Hulkamania is running a little ragged, and I tell you what, you're not quite as good looking as Joan Rivers. But that's cool, you know.
And don't you dare do to me what you did to Joan. Please.
I would never attempt to kiss you. It would be the kiss of death right in the center of the ring, Mr. McMahon. Hey, why does Hulk Hogan have to wait outside all through TNT when you got them bad dudes like Big John Studd in here running his mouth, and I seen film footage of King Kong Bundy? Why couldn't I be out here on the same stage, Awful Alfred, Vicious Vince, and myself with these two bad dudes?
Well, I think you'll definitely have your opportunity to step to the ring. I don't think this is actually the forum that you're looking for, but nonetheless, I know that Big John Studd allegedly is looking forward to ample opportunity.
Well, you know, I figure he's looking forward to ample opportunity, but I don't think he wants to pay the price of feeling the wrath of the Hulkster brother. Otherwise, Big John Studd would come on out here right now. You had those security guards holding me back. I didn't have a seatbelt, didn't have a lady. You had all those armed security guards holding me back when Big John Studd was out here. That's cool. That's cool. Next subject, next subject. Hold on. Vince McMahon, this is not the world title belt. This is not the intercontinental title belt. This is the magic belt. Hulk Hogan did 1,001 squat routines with this belt, and as of yesterday, when I finished 1,001 squat workouts, you can smell the sweat on there. The wrath of the Hulkster. What I'm gonna do right now is leave this belt in your care, Mr. Vince McMahon, and whether you raffle it off, whether you have him right in, or whether you take the 1,001 phone caller, whoever wins this magic belt is guaranteed to have arms as big as a Hulkster. If you train, say your prayers, and eat your vitamins, and train day and night, all you gotta do is break the first sweat when you get the belt on, and you'll smell the body of the Hulkster, and you'll be the stinkiest dude in the gym, and the biggest.
I don't know how to thank you. We have some videotape footage of you, as a matter of fact, in a non-title matchup with Tiger Chung-Lee. You may have worn this to the ring on that occasion, I'm not sure. Let's take you now to the videotape footage of Hulk Hogan in action.
This is going to be a good matchup, because I'll tell you, Tiger Chung-Lee brings the mystery of the Orient into the ring, and he's a tough customer, Gorilla.
Master of the martial arts from Korea, certainly someone to reckon with. High up now as he backs the champion. Oh, nice block. Right hand by the champion sends a Tiger reeling. Hogan looks to be in tremendous physical condition as always.
Well, he's got to wear down pretty soon. He's had an unbelievable schedule of late.
That certainly will take its toll. And right now, those karate kicks by Chung-Lee taking an effect on the champion. Whip in here. Whoa, ducked underneath that one. Scoop slam. Wow, that's 280 pounds plus. Hulkster tried to get him before he could get too far, but didn't make it.
Well, that was a smart move by Tiger Chung-Lee. The momentum had switched. He rolled out of the ring, settled things down, and get it back to ground zero.
Oh, it brought him in the hard way over the top rope as the champ goes out hot. Backbreaker. Now for the cover. 1, 2, no. Right arm slipped out of there.
He didn't hook the leg that time. He tried for just a straight body cover.
Not going to beat Tiger Chung-Lee that way. Arm wringer now by the champion. What a tremendous representative for the entire wrestling world and for the World Wrestling Federation is Hulk Hogan.
Well, I'll tell you, Gorilla, he's a hero to all, but not all of us like heroes.
Well, can't believe that you don't like a hero, Jess.
I'm a little more devious myself. I'm a bit of a deviant.
You resemble that remark very well, Jess. You're a devious person.
But I call it like it is, though.
Hulkster now still working on the left arm and shoulder of Tiger Chung-Lee.
Chung-Lee's going to have to rough it up here. He cannot match strength with Hogan.
Incidentally, this is a non-title matchup. Referee, oh, look at the clean break here. Whoa! Crescent kick right on the throat.
Beautiful move on the part of Tiger Chung-Lee. He lulled the champion, got him to believe what was happening, and laid it in there on him and took advantage.
Now for the cover, 1 count only as the Hulkster kicks out immediately.
You know, it's tough to be in Hogan's position because everyone, and I mean everyone, is gunning for you.
Absolutely. Every time he steps out there, someone's looking to put him on the shelf. Take that. Wow. Karate shot to the back of the neck, but look at the Hulkster. Bulking up here. Big right hand. And another one, 3 in a row. Hulkster with a whip in. Oh, clothesline, a beauty. Hogan with a leg drop right across the throat. Hooks the leg. 1, 2, he got it. Cassidy crowd on its feet, showing their approval. Look at this fantastic individual. No wonder he's won the respect of everyone.
Not everyone. I told you that before, Gorilla. Not everyone.
Everyone but the body.
I could name a few more. Maybe Jimmy Hart. Maybe Fred Blassie. Not everyone.
All sadistic individuals. Let's go to the ring.
Winner of the match, the World Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Champion, Hulk Hogan.
All right.
Man, you know, Vicious Vince, that turns me on, brother. That turns me on, man. I can't stand to see another guy go down like that without ripping my clothes off. And along with that world title belt, brother, when you decide to raffle it off or when you give it away to the 1,001 Hulkster that calls up, give them that T-shirt, brother, and they can wrap it around their head just like this Hulk Hogan war bandana, man, and they'll be ready for anybody in the gym.
Are you ready for anyone?
Man, I'm ready. You know,
it was Jesse Ventura who brought out an interesting comment that everyone seems to be gunning. Everyone seems to be gunning for you these days, and I would think it has to take its toll on you, whether it's an individual competition or even tag team competition.
Well, you know, Vince McMahon, if I was a mere mortal man like yourself, and I was sitting there, and I didn't have...
You'd be champion if you were mere...
That's right, brother, and I didn't have these thousands of Hulkamaniacs on my side, maybe I would worry about it night and day. But since I'm on such a roll, and since I got Awful Alfred and people like yourself watching my back, brother, that's the way I like it. I like it hot when I'm in the kitchen. I like the challengers like Big John Studd to be in shape, man, because I'm not out there for no cakewalk. So the bigger, the better, the better. Bring him on, Vince.
When Big John Studd earlier on was alluding to his tag team partner, King Kong Bundy. Now, those two were just about two of the biggest, baddest dudes in professional wrestling, and I wonder if there were ever a tag, they've been doing a lot of teaming, I wonder if there ever a tag team matchup. I wonder if you were opposed against those two, whom you would select as your partner.
Well, you know, when I think about Big John Studd and King Kong Bundy, you know, I have to think that I'd be the smallest man in the ring. So if I was looking for a tag team partner, I'd kind of like to even up the odds weight-wise, you know. So what I would do, brother, is I would go out and get one of my best friends, you know, about 7'4", like a big bad oak tree. Andre the Giant, brother, and I think it would be doomsday for those two because I just like to sit around and direct traffic and watch Andre the Giant body slam each one of those dudes over and over and over again.
Well,
can you dig that?
Yes, indeed. I think we'd like very much to dig that possibility. But in terms of individual competition, it seems to me that, again, any number of individuals gunning for you, notwithstanding Studd and Bundy, who almost, well, they're your size, maybe a little bit larger, but then again, you get accustomed to someone that large, and you got a man like the Macho Man, who's extremely crafty, very, very fast, and so many more. Adrian Adonis, a totally different style. I mean, every opponent is a different...
You know, man, it goes on and on and on, man. You can just keep rattling off all day. The Macho Man, body of a god, face of a dragon, mind of a demon. Big John Studd, it don't matter, brother. The thing is... Morocco, well, that's cool, the Asiatic spike. I'd like to swat you with that. But anyway, you know, you're gonna see a lot of #1 contenders come and go, brother. But there's only one Hulkster. There's only one Hulk Hogan, daddy. I will step in the ring, meet any challenge, and when I get too old and gray, and I gotta sit down and let one of the little Hulksters take over, you're gonna remember me for a long time, brother.
I'm sure of that. All right. Lanny Poffo has remembered you, and as a matter of fact, wrote a little poem. Lanny Poffo wrote a poem in your honor. Let's take you to the videotape.
When the Hulkster hits the ring, that's when it hits the fan. A nuclear explosion from a modern Superman. There never is an empty seat. They line up in the rain. Not even Halley's Comet could make the fans refrain. In the magic of the moment when the action gets intense, kids from 6 to 86 are raptured with suspense. There has never been a hero of such magnitude before. He's been the champ for 1 year now, and here's to many more.
In terms of conquest, I know there are going to be, as we said before, so many people lining up. I don't know how you've been able to maintain the intensity that you have. Can you explain maybe some of the secrets of that intensity you've been able to maintain all the way through thus far as you've been champion for what, over a year?
Since, it's been about 1 year and 10 months, but you know, when you talk about the intensity, man, you gotta believe in whatever you're doing, man. If you don't like your job, you're not gonna work hard. If you don't like climbing in the square circle one-on-one, brother, the ultimate physical confrontation, getting in the ring with Hulk Hogan, if you don't dig that, you better get out. As far as I'm concerned, I live this thing night and day, man. You know, when I was hanging out back waiting for all these so-called superstars like John Studd to get off the stage, I could have been getting a pump on, man. I could have been working out. And you know something? You gotta live it night and day. You gotta believe it, and it rubs off, man. You people can tell I'm for real, man. This ain't no phony right here. I live this thing day and night. And if you add that in with a combined mixture of training, saying your prayers, and eating your vitamins, ain't nobody's gonna take you down.
All right. Back with more TNT. By the way, next week, Nikolai Volkov will join us. Freddie Blassie, Ricky Steamboat, Rick Derringer, Vicky Sue Robinson, Bruno Samart. What are you doing?
I'm posing.
You know, now I know why they call him Awful Alfred, brother, because maybe you should win the magic belt, but maybe not because you're an employee of Titan Sports. Make sure to look for details on TNT, how you can win the magic lifting belt of Hulk Hogan. Right. The shirt I ripped off here, I gotta show this dude how it's done. Then I want to meet some of my people out there, Vince.
Whoa, baby! All right.